Good day, my fellow Omoluabis, wherever you happen to be. This is Ama Bookman with Ile Eko Omoluabi. As always, we are here promoting African development through the restoration of African ethics, philosophy, and culture in the Yoruba tradition. It's my pleasure today to have our guest, Leo Igwe, with us. He is a Nigerian writer, speaker, and human rights advocate, and as well as a humanist. He's the chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Nigerian chapter of the Humanist Association. He is also the former Western and Southern African representative of the International Humanist and Ethical Union and specializes against child witchcraft accusation. He holds a PhD in African Studies. His advocacy has brought him into conflict with witchcraft believers such as Liberty Foundations. And it's just a pleasure to have him with us today. Looking forward to a lively conversation about humanism and his activism. So thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thank you also for having me.
So let's start with a question that everybody may not know. What is humanism?
Well, I think humanism is a way of thinking and living that stresses the agency of human beings. Humanism stresses the fact that we humans are our own saviors. We are our own redeemers. In fact, a very popular saying in the Humanist Manifesto says, no deity will save us, we must save ourselves. So humanism is a philosophy of life based on reason, compassion, empathy, and of course, basic freedom of life in terms of liberties. So humanists are human rights activists. Humanists are those who believe, who subscribe to the principles of rational inquiry, scientific thinking. I think, to cut it short, humanists are those who draw their philosophy or focus mainly on the human welfare, human happiness, and human well-being.
So just to elaborate a little bit, is a humanist an atheist? Is there a difference? Can a humanist believe in God? Or does it not involve, so what is the relationship of humanism to God?
Well, anytime I'm speaking on issues like this, I say I speak for myself. I don't want to say here now I'm the Pope of the humanist community in Nigeria. No, I'm not a spokesperson, but I know that what I'm saying here, many will agree with me. So the fact there is that God is the product of human creation. And to the extent the God idea is a product of human creation, is not alien to a humanist, yes. Because we gave it the name, we say where it says, where it lives, we built a house for it, we talk to it, it doesn't talk back, and we also say, oh, this is what God said, and all that. So God is our product. The only issue we have here is when somebody says, no, we are the product of God. This is where there is an issue with humanists, okay? When there is an attempt to subsume, to subordinate the human to some kind of an entity also being crafted and promoted by other human beings. So if we could look at the idea of God as a product of the human being, as something we created and made by ourselves, I think that it will be acceptable to a humanist. But when we try to say, oh, he is the Almighty, he's greater than a human being, and a human being can be sacrificed. Don't forget the issue of human sacrifice. The human being can be sacrificed to placate this entity. That is where there is a problem. But as a human creation, a form of human creation, I don't think many humanists will have an issue with the idea of God.
So, okay, so I think what you're saying is that a humanist won't have an issue with the concept of God as long as we understand God as a product of the human mind. But I would think that most believers
Yes.
would basically say that's not God, that's not a God, right? So if you're creating God rather than the other way around, how is that God?
No, well, the thing there is that how is he not God? Because the believer will come and tell you, okay, the name of God is Allah. Who called God Allah? Who called Allah Allah? A human being. So what I'm saying is that it is the believer that has a problem, and that is where they have an issue with humanists. Okay? And they will tell you, somebody will say, oh yeah, that Allah has a book. A book. Do we mean a book? And they said, oh yeah, where was this written? Oh, it was written in a cave. A God writing in a cave. And the more you inquire about the believer's idea of God, the more you see the human writing, human mark across it. It has a book written with human language and words, expressions that we all can connect. And when you write a book, you can easily connect where it was written. And when they said, like now, in one of the holy books, they said, oh yeah, there's a fig tree. In my country, Nigeria, we don't know what fig tree is.
Okay.
So go and look for the country that has a fig tree. You will see where that book was written and the culture it was speaking to. So what we're saying is that, yes, believers will not agree with what I'm saying here now, that God is our creation. But I don't think there's any other thing the believer says that is not consistent with what I have just said.
Okay. So you brought up another interesting point in your earlier comment, which was that the idea that human beings can be sacrificed to this God. Now, some of our viewers may not be aware, but there are some unfortunate aspects of a history on the continent where some of the practices involve sacrificing human to gods for various reasons. So, however, today in most parts of Nigeria, and I suspect most parts of Africa, people don't practice those religions. In fact, they consider them evil. They practice Christianity and Islam. About 90% of us on the continent practice that religion. So the problem is not the idea of God, someone might say, but that people had a misunderstanding of God. And now, with the coming of Christianity and Islam, we have the right understanding of God. How do you respond to that?
No. You see, look, Christianity and Islam, they have created confusion. And if you follow what is going on in Nigeria and in many parts of the world today, it is a product of this confusion. Now, when you are growing up, yes, I grew up in southeastern Nigeria, and I live in southwest at the moment. Now, in southeastern Nigeria, they talk about Christianity and traditional religion. Just move a few hundred miles away from where I was born, they will start telling you, okay, traditional religion, Islam, and Christianity. And you ask yourself, of all these religions, which one is true? All the adherents are claiming that their own religion is true. Muslims are saying their own is true. In fact, they said that their own prophet is the final prophet, that there was none after that, and that is the greatest. The Christians will tell you, oh, it's Jesus, he's the savior of the world, including those who don't believe in him. Okay? So many of us in this kind of setting are confused. And you see this confusion being played out by the kind of violence and conflict that you know one could see, let's say in Nigeria and in some other places. So I'm sorry, I don't think Christianity and Islam, they actually brought this kind of what you can call the right religion and all that. No. They brought confusion. They brought confusion because Christianity, Islam, traditional religion, they are all fundamentally an attempt to make sense of life and to make sense of the world, especially at a time human beings have not made a lot of progress in terms of science and technology.
Okay. So I actually want to stick to the topic of violence. Right now, you've got some personal situation in terms of the person who started the who helped you in your founding of the organization. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What's going on with you and your activism, and how have you interacted with the Nigerian government or public in general? How have you been received?
Well, the humanist message has been well received as long as it doesn't say anything critical of God.
Okay.
Yes. In terms of if you are there doing humanitarian job, supporting people, providing some kind of financial support to those who are in need, providing scholarships to people, and maybe those who suffer some kind of assault, or you provide them with some humanitarian service. But you see, like we said, humanism is not about humanitarianism. Humanism is also intellectual. Humanism is also cultural. Humanism also gets involved in the debates when it comes to religion and believing God and the existence of God. So where we have a problem now is that the thing that humanists should not actually speak, they should not organize, they should not actually make clear what they believe. So, and that is what happened in the case of the president of the Humanist Association, that's Mubarak Bala. He was arrested on April 28th because he made a post on Facebook critical of the Prophet of Islam. And according to the report, they said that he posted a comment calling the Prophet of Islam a terrorist and a pedophile. Okay, and this angered some Muslims, and they went ahead to report him to the police, and the police now connived with them and put him in jail somewhere. We have not seen him since April. So now let's take a typical case of that. Look, Islam is a foreign religion introduced by those who were critical of traditional religious beliefs. Now, they have succeeded not only through preaching, but also through violence to dominate the greater part of northern Nigeria. Now, people are coming up and they said, you should not criticize Islam. Meanwhile, this was a religion introduced by those who were critical of African traditional belief. So that is a confusion I'm talking about. So today, they want him jailed. Some people want him killed because he made a comment critical of the Prophet of Islam. What an outrage. Yes, and this is what I think Africans should begin to respond to. Christianity and Islam, they are religions that are superstitions. In quote, they are not perfect. But unfortunately, many Christians have swallowed and internalized the idea that these religions are perfect and they are beyond criticism. So this is how, at the end of the day, the message of humanism, which is not just a message of caring for humanity, but also a message of being skeptical and critical of beliefs, has led to some kind of problem, not only with the police, with the government, and sometimes with the society in general.
Okay. Do you make a distinction between how people behave in relation to their religion, how they understand it, and the actual religion itself? So I suppose a Muslim might say something like, there's no compulsion in Islam. So to the extent that we see this happening, this is not a true reflection of Islam. What do you say about that?
Well, you see, religion is embedded in the religionists. Yes, in their behavior, in their preaching, in their utterances. Yes, and that is why if you say what a religion teaches and what people do, you cannot make a case based on what religion teaches. You only make a case based on what the people who practice our religion do. So I think that for me, what is of interest to me is the attitudes, the religious behaviors, because this is actually what will have an impact. Because now let's take a look at that. Oh, people say in Islam there is no compulsion. Now go to that book where they got that verse. You will get another verse that will say, "Woe to these people," or verses that will literally incite violence. So even in terms of teaching, religion, no religion, Islam or Christianity, has a consistent message of peace and non-tolerance and peace and tolerance. Yes, if you go to the Bible, you can get verses that that sanctifies violence, slavery. If you also go to the Quran, you can also see, or hadith, you see verses that also sanctify violence. So when you say teaching and behavior, they have no consistent moral teaching, as far as I am concerned, both Christianity and Islam. So that is why we should actually set that aside and look at the actual behavior, because that is actually what has impact. It is today now the people who are holding Mubarak are not asking you, okay, this is what my religion teaches. They are expressing their own understanding of the religion.
Okay.
Yes.
So one of the things you've worked on that I find fascinating is you write and campaign. Things you write about that I found fascinating is you campaign against witchcraft accusation in the persecution of people who are accused of being witches. Can you speak to that?
Yes. One of my major campaigns is the work we are doing, trying to eradicate witchcraft accusation and witch persecution. Because growing up in southeastern Nigeria and now in southwest Nigeria where I live, there are cases where people, when they have problems, when they are sick, when they suffer certain misfortunes in the families, they begin to suspect that there must be somebody who is spiritually orchestrating this. This narrative is being used to make sense of people's misfortune up till now, whether they are Christians, Muslims, or traditional religionists. So let us get the religious angle very well. So, and as a child, and while I was growing up, I kept asking myself whether actually these people suspected to be responsible for misfortune, accidents, miscarriage, business failures, whether they are actually doing what they said they were accused of doing. And the more I inquire, the little, it was like, the more you look, the less you see. And I keep looking to the point that I was actually seeing virtually nothing. I was just seeing victimization. I was just seeing societal failure. I was seeing irresponsibility. I was seeing bullying. I was seeing maltreatment, hate, and envy. So, and I just said, look, I must not, pass through this life without, sending a strong message to the people who are actually behind these atrocities. So that's why I started waging campaigns against witchcraft accusation, because witchcraft accusation is a form of death sentence. Immediately they put the label on you. People will come with both covert and overt means to get at you, to persecute you, to maltreat you, to abandon you in one form or another. I know how socially poisonous witchcraft accusation is growing up here. So, and when I started doing the work, a lot of people were like, are you sure this thing doesn't exist? Are you sure? For me, I support what you are doing, but there are witches and wizards. So you see these contradictions. People are very reluctant taking a categorical stand. Okay? And this is being complicated by Christianity. Yes, because there is this Exodus 22:18 that says, suffer not a witch to live. A lot of people regard this as a kind of a certifier of witch belief. And they take off from there. And today, it is something going on now in so many churches in Nigeria and beyond. And even in places where you have Muslims, like in the north of Ghana, where I did my field work, we have what they call witch camps. And these are places that mainly women who are persecuted, they flee to these places to make sure that nobody will come and harm them.
Wow.
So, yeah, you said?
I just said, oh, wow, I was surprised.
Okay, yeah. We have them. They're still existing at the moment. That was where I did my field work. So, and when you ask them, sorry, what happened? You know what they're going to hear? Oh, my neighbor's son died, and they said I'm the one that went somewhere. Or, oh, I was in a dream, and this guy was pressing my chest. Or this guy was, you'll be hearing cock and bull story. You will be hearing empty, baseless things. And you ask, and you will still be listening and said, okay, what happened? Oh, this man came, he came in the dream, and I won't want him to kill me. Let me go and kill him first. I said, are you joking? Are you okay? And let me tell you, you don't hear this story once, twice, thrice. And when you start questioning, they said, are you saying there's no God? Are you saying there is no devil? Are you saying there are no demonic forces? So you see our people, engrossed in this kind of very confused. That's why I told you about this religion causing confusion. They have brought this kind of very complicated narratives of evil, demonic forces that people are here swimming in an ocean of confusion. And that is what is leading to this impunity when it comes to witch persecution. So for so long, I have been a little soft about it, trying to discuss and persuade. But nothing is being done. People are still, killing, murdering, lynching elderly women. This year, I said, enough is enough. I launched a campaign, Advocacy for Alleged Witches. I coined this name deliberately so that you know where I'm coming from the one. Advocacy for them. Okay? So, and since then, we've been trying to, kind of scale up the campaign, confront the witch hunters, petition the police, and tell them, look, you have no reason to be reluctant, in terms of going after witch hunters. You have no reason. So, but of course, a lot of people will ask you, do you believe in God? They say you don't believe. They say, okay, no wonder. And that's all. They go to sleep. I said, yes, I don't believe in God. You believe, right? And you still kill this person, then you will go to jail. So it's important you read out the riot act for them. So that's what I've done this year. But it's not going down well with so many people. Some pastors, some believers, some Pentecostal churches, they think that you are anti-God, or they think you are anti-church or anti-religion and all that. But I don't care. We have to rally all the resources we can to make sure that we end this. And when you go internationally, they tell you, oh, this happened in Europe 300 years ago. Is it not shameful that it's being associated with us today? And does it not go into this stereotype about black people, that we are magical and that we are superstitious and things like that? Nonsense. We are not. We are not. Let me tell you, Western people are as superstitious Africans. They brought Christianity. Who is the father of Jesus? They say God. How was he born? An angel Gabriel came to a virgin. And what happened? What happened between an angel and a virgin? They brought a savior. Savior? Savior of who? So you see all these narratives going on right, left, and center. We have refused to confront our own. And I have told them, the ball stops now. And we have to start the process of confronting this enough of this nonsense. Yes, that I'm using this campaign to tell Africans and to tell the world, enough is enough. We have had enough. Whether it is Islam or Christianity, if you use it to persecute any human being, then I will take you up. I don't want to know whether it's Muhammad that's involved, Jesus that is involved, or whatever, traditional, Yoruba culture, Igbo culture, African culture. I'm not interested in that. As long as it crosses, into being used to abuse human beings, you will go for it. I will name and shame you, and I will call you out. Enough is enough.
So you brought up an interesting point, that people say, we're still doing these things. We're, superstitious, but some would say that we're spiritual. So even if Europeans brought Christianity, we can see today that churches in Europe are closing, and if we're not for immigrants coming mostly from the continent of Africa, keeping them alive, they would be closed. Okay. Here, where I am in America, some of the most vibrant, dynamic churches that are growing or at least sustaining themselves are Black churches. Whether it's Christianity, Islam, or traditional religion, Africans more fervently, more passionately, more ardently practice the religion in front of them more than anybody I know. And some people would say that being a humanist, being secularist, being an atheist is not African. And that is in some way that it is just another Western product that you are bringing to us. It's actually the ultimate form of Westernization because we're spiritual people. How do you respond to that?
Well, first of all, let's go to the idea that Africans are the ones keeping the churches alive. For me, I don't think it should be a credit. It's not something we should be proud of. Okay?
Whether it's a credit or not, that's what's happening, right?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Because, there's always these people, they say that they call it reverse missionary. People going from Africa to Europe or America to I don't know what they're going there to do actually, because I don't know, it's just like somebody coming from Brazil to Osun State to come and teach the people there about Osun and the God there. So I mean, I don't know what it means, and I don't know the kind of God that bring it. So they call reverse missionaries, and that people are talking about this as a way. Number one is it reinforces that stereotype that Africans are religious. But I think that we need to look below the surface. This is my problem when it comes to religion and religious representation of Africans, including religious Islamic representations of Middle Easterners, Saudi Arabians. We need to look below the surface. How is this thing being instrumental to the person's interest? How is it being used? How is this in the interest of the people coming? Okay, that is number one. And again, we ask ourselves, what is the function of religion to these immigrants? And how has the state organization fulfilled the same function for those who are, let's say, the Germans or Europeans or Americans? Okay, good. So now, when you are a migrant, like now, when I studied in Germany for 6 years, when I arrived, a week after that, some people came, I think Church of Latter-day Saints or something like that. They came and they invited me. I know what they told me. They told me they would teach me German. Okay? Now, I would have gone there, not because I want to be a member of the Church of Latter-day Saints, but because I wanted to learn German. Because when you arrive, there's always this pressure for you to learn German and master and all that. Now, there is a service the church renders. Yeah, that's why people are going there. Okay? And we have to look at the social capital in church going, much more than what you're talking the spiritual. This spiritual is very vague because look, you can be at home and be spiritual. So why go to churches? Why? Remember, when you are being spiritual, remember you are dealing with the abstract. But when you are gathering together, you're not dealing with the abstract. There are practical things to benefit. Number one, you get friends. You get people you can go to. You get people you can ask for support. You get people you can navigate and know, what do I do? How do I get papers? Citizens don't look for papers. They don't go to church to look for papers. Immigrants need papers. How do I change my status? How do I send money home? I don't have documents. How do I send money home? How do I network? They lose the network they have in Nigeria, in Ghana, and all that. They are looking for something they can use to network. Churches are one of the entry points when I'm looking for networks. So you know what I'm saying? I understand what you're saying about the spiritual thing, but let's look at even the mundane benefits, the benefits that people make. I think it is more of what people will gain in terms of practically and secularly, in terms of this world, than what you are talking about spiritual. I don't think it has to do with spiritual. If it is spiritual, I think that many of us, you remain in your house. After all, are you not communicating with God? And as they say in one of the scriptures, the God who knows in secret, who will also communicate with you. So what are you going to the church to do if you want to be spiritual? There is another thing you don't want to tell me. There is another thing that there's a social capital there. And it is that social capital that is the main driver. If you remove that social capital, immigrants will come and stay at home like other citizens.
Okay, so you're saying that people are going to churches because it provides them some kind of economic benefit, not necessarily a spiritual benefit. Am I getting you?
There's some benefit, yeah.
Okay. So actually, the way I came across across your information in your work was you did a TED Talk. And the thing that struck me in your TED Talk is you talked about the relationship between poverty and religiosity. So I want you to elaborate on that and tell people what the data shows about religion from your perspective in economic progress or lack thereof. And I also want to know, what do you think the relationship is? Do you think that it's because there's poverty that we see high rates of religiosity and religious devotion, or do you think that devotion itself creates instances of economic deprivation? And if so, how? Or maybe it's a cyclical relationship. What do you think of that relationship?
Well, you see, when I talk about the relationship between maybe economic progress and religion, I was speaking to a particular situation. And when you go outside that situation, it might be a different thing. Okay? So now, why I'm saying there is that, now, let me give you an example. A few kilometers from where I'm living now, we have a mountainous place. Mountainous. Not when I say mountainous now, don't see it in the terms of Kilimanjaro and all that. Okay, let me use the word hilly place. Hilly place. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. So that it gets so now every Friday evening, you get people there gathered because they say that Jesus went to the mountain to pray. Now, hilly places, we don't have mountains actually. We just have very highlands and all that. Churches have taken over some of these places, and they say that when they pray there, that God will hear them better. Okay? Good. So people devote a lot of their time praying and seeking favor from God. Now, is there a God that could grant favors? For me, no. So what are they doing there? They are literally wasting their time, or they're having an exercise or a recreation, which is another thing about social capital and other health benefits, in quote, that could come from it. A kind of recreation and exercise. You know the way they say that African churches are vibrant. No, many people don't go to gym, and sometimes going to church is a way, an indirect way of gymming. And you see them, they are moving around, moving their bodies they wouldn't have ordinarily moved. Fine. But what I'm trying to say here is that these are people who are poor. They're supposed to work, spend time on something that will yield income. Now they go to mountains for days, praying to a God that for me is not listening because it's not there. So are you reinforcing your state of poverty, or are you taking measures to improve on it? That is it. So when I try to make that connection, I try to say that many people think that by praying, they can pray away poverty. No! You walk it away. Yes. Because as a humanist, I believe in hard work. I believe that your efforts, that's what can help enhance your chances of getting over your situation of poverty or lack of income or limited income. But you see, here they devote a lot of time praying, going vigil, fasting. These are people who are not even eating enough. Okay? They are fasting. And look, let me tell you one thing about fasting again. For some people who are dieting, they might need some less food. The lesser they eat, the less sugar and all that, they become healthier. So there could be another, unbudgeted, benefit there in terms of maybe they get less sugar in their system and they get, lighter, they lose weight and things like that. But that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm talking about people who ordinarily are not eating well and they are told to fast. Okay? Good. These people are fasting to get a job. They are spending nights. Instead of trying to go to the internet, instead of trying to skill acquisition programs, they say, no. It is by miracle. It is by faith, not by hard work. So by so doing, they have tried to get people to be somehow complacent, to be somehow expectant of some kind of divine intervention in their life, instead of spending that time in something that can enhance their skill or even having a job. A lot of people overseas, they have juggle 2 jobs. Why are they doing that? To complement their income. But here, no, they will not complement their income. Instead of going to work in the night and do another job, they will go to the hilly place, the mountain, as they call it in Nigeria, to pray. Because that's where Jesus prayed and they got miracles. So what are they doing? When it comes to a poverty situation, they are reinforcing it. That's why I talked about the fact that they're expecting manna from above. The narrative of manna has been used to make people think that they will be pulled out of their poverty just like magically that way. And that is not helping us. Yes, it's better for them to be told, look, go and work. You can change your jobs. You can get new skills. You can do double. You can work in the night and work in the morning. Do shifts here and there. Join that income. For me, it makes sense than you don't have a job, then you spend the night in mosquito-infested, hilly place praying for divine intervention only to come back with malaria. No.
Okay, so have you ever seen a healing? So I think for a lot of the people, you said, you know, they're praying to a God that is not answering, but
Yeah.
many people tell me that they have seen miracles, they have seen the action of God. Have you either personally experienced a supernatural event, or have you encountered a testimony from somebody who has, that you find difficult to explain through natural causes?
Have I experienced healing? I
Or
really
maybe
will.
supernatural phenomenon.
Yeah, supernatural phenomenon. Well, I don't know what supernatural phenomenon is. I don't know what it is, to be candid with you. There are things I don't explain. And one of them is the fact that this camera wasn't working some moments ago and is now working. Okay? Upon all we did. So if you ask me how did it happen, I don't know. Is that supernatural? I don't know. Is that similar to some of the things happening to human beings that they call supernatural? The answer is yes. If you cannot explain something, is that thing supernatural? It means that there is a knowledge deficit. There is something you don't know. And anytime you know that thing, it starts being supernatural. So that's why I said, why stay somewhere expecting supernatural intervention when you can learn, you can acquire knowledge, you can discover, you can explore, you can question? Yes, that's the problem. So if you ask me, supernatural intervention, they happen every day, just like it happened a few moments ago between us here. And I know you may not agree, but yeah, there are so many things that I don't explain. You see me fumbling by mistake, I chanced on it, and because I've done something either right or wrong, or something I didn't know was right, eventually I get a result. So now somebody who understands it will look at it and say, hey, Leo, oh, this thing you touched here, you stopped this, and all that. It starts being supernatural. Supernatural is like a carton of cards, that you are mistaken is a carton of maybe, what do I say, blanks, or you think there's a lot of treasure in it, only for you to immediately you understand that it's a carton of cards, it stops being a treasure. Look at it. So it boils down to understanding. It boils down to knowledge. And that is why I said, hey, fellow Africans, fellow Nigerians, and miracle seekers, seek knowledge. That is it. Immediately you seek knowledge and understanding. Fine. There are coincidences, like I said. It happens every day. You'll be doing something, fumbling, and try to get yourself, something happens, it happens by chance. You can call it miracle. When you say it is miracle, I know you don't understand how it happened. That's how I understand it. Immediately you say it's supernatural, you don't understand it. Is there a God waiting for, like as I'm talking here now, waiting and trying to fix something that is wrong? No. Otherwise, I would have told you, we would have done that at the beginning and called him to really fix the thing and all that, and didn't fix it. No, but we didn't. So what am I trying to say? Supernatural intervention is a way to explain something we don't understand. And are there things we don't understand? The answer is yes. Okay? So, but as long as we don't take it too far, okay? For me, it's like a metaphor, as some people used to say. Yes, a metaphor to explain things we don't understand. I don't have a problem with it. But when you tell me, hey, stop from what you're supposed to do, stop making efforts to change your situation, wait for supernatural intervention, then I have to ask, where will it come from? Why is he waiting to intervene? Why can't it go ahead? Why must it wait for me to pray, fumble, die, pay, go in pain and cry before it is intervened? Does he enjoy things going wrong before it goes right? So who is this supernatural? Listen. So that is it. I think it is a metaphor to explain what we don't understand. I don't think there is agency, as in there is a personality behind it, as religious people will make us understand.
So one of the benefits that I think religion provides is hope. So when you're facing situation, whether it's your job, your relationship, your health, that are challenging, faith gives hope. And this isn't just something that is meaningless and imaginary, because one of the things we see is that by having that faith and hope, it might change your outlook, your mood, and this could even have a physiological effect on you. So as a humanist, what do you have to offer people when they are in a hopeless situation? How do you make up for the lack of a God to turn to in times of difficulties?
You see, this question comes up from time to time, and there's always this feeling that religion provides us hope. Hope? Do you really mean that religion provides hope? I don't know. First of all, let's look at the religious hope. Religious hope is in the hereafter. When you are dying, people are in pain. They say, oh yeah, don't worry, he's not dead. That he is going to another world, that he's going to, some people say, wear white garment and be dancing eternally. He's not dead. They lie to you to give you hope. Is that what you call hope? Is that what you call hope?
There's also hope here, right? Like you have a negative diagnosis, you've lost your job. You have hope that God is going to intervene on your behalf, and this gives you courage. This gives you emotional and psychological strength. Where do you get that as a humanist?
Well, let us look at real hope and unreal hope. Okay? The real hope lies with humans. Human comfort, human encouragement, human solidarity. You can never equate. In fact, there's no basis of comparison between human comfort, human-based hope, human crafted hope, than a hope that is informed by abstract, surreal, impractical, remote, obscure entities that are out there. Why am I saying so? You have a diagnosis. Okay, you are going to die. Where is the first person who believed in God? Where is he or she? Dead. Where are the popes? Dead. Where are the imams? Dead. Why is it that their hopes have not kept them alive today? So even what you're calling the religious hope, the supernatural hope, they fail, like I called you, a pack of cards. But let me tell you what we have there. It is only that hope that human beings can provide. In other words, somebody could come and say, yes, you have been diagnosed this. Yes, you're going to die. But before you die, maybe we could have some pain relieving stuff and keep you there and for some time. Okay? Yes, for me, because when you're telling me, oh, you have this kind of idea that, oh yeah, this religious hope, it offers us something that maybe a humanist hope does. What? All those people that are having religious hopes, where are they? I'm asking you. Because look, I want to look at the consequences of having that hope in God. Where are they? Where is the statistics that those people who had, supernatural hope, they are still living today? I'm talking about those who had it 100 years ago, 50 years ago. Even as I'm talking to you. Look, my father is bedridden. He had this diabetic ulcer, and we went to the hospital, University College Hospital. And that's where they refer very complicated ailments. So we get a lot of deaths there. On Sundays, on weekends, you see people, all these religious people wearing white garments, they come to pray. My father has been there on 2 occasions. And on those 2 occasions, some of the people, after being prayed to, our people pray for them and they go, by the time I come back the next day, they are dead. They are dead. So what happened to the religious hope those people left with them? That's why I said, can we come down? Religion should come down from this high horse, fictitious high horse they have always constructed. They are using it to mesmerize ignorant people and gullible people. Come down. The hope you are offering is to see how this person will stay extra day. Yeah? Good. There are evidence-based narratives you could use. Come around, sing for the person, do certain things that will appeal to the person. And because we know very well, look, No matter how hopeful you are, none of us is living this place alive. You are not living this place alive. I am not living. If you like, go and hang on the highest supernatural hope. So it is immediately we start from that premise. We now ask ourselves, okay, so how long? Who will live through the window? Who will live through the door? Who will be carried out of this apartment? Who will live disabled? Who will live as ash? The fact that none of us will live here alive is there confronting us. So what am I trying to say? It still boils down to the fact that religion is all about us and what we make out of it, as I said in the beginning. So those things are people are trying to see what they can do to give the person, some kind of feeling that the person will still stay a little bit, not that the person will not die. So let me tell you, they were not praying. In one hospital, they came to pray for my father. When they finished praying for my father said, okay, let me also pray for them. My father was sick, so he decided to pray for those people who came to pray for him. I asked him why. He said, look, some of them, they have tuberculosis. He told me that some of them also were sick, that they also needed some prayer. Okay, because I have a little bit of a free-thinking kind of father, okay? So what am I trying to say? We all are sick. We are all riding on one hope or the other, even when we are pretending to give other people hope. So what am I saying? Let us tell ourselves the truth. We are not living here alive. And we are just coming like people left in the desert. Like when somebody throws you into an ocean, you are looking for something to hold on to. That's what we are doing. Hopefully we might swim ashore, but at the end of it all, we are dead.
Okay. So Ile Eko Omoluabi focuses on character and values and ethics. So one of our primary function is to talk about how to live well, how to live ethically, but also in an authentic African way so that we can develop in a constructive manner and bring back the continent from the place that it finds itself now. How does a humanist know right from wrong? What are the sources of human ethics and values, humanist ethics and values, if not religion?
From the consequences, from the impact. Yeah. How do you, this thing is wrong because it will harm others. Yeah. It's
what
right.
If I care though? What if I don't care? I just don't care if it harms.
Yeah. You don't care if it harms.
Yeah, but if it just
until it harms you.
Okay.
Until it harms you.
I don't care,
until
right?
It harms
there's
you.
no heaven, there's no hell. If I can get away with it, I just don't care.
Yeah, but that is the narrative the religious people keep selling to blindfold us and sell us this nonsense that God is the one that tells us what is right or wrong. First of all, does God talk? The answer is no. They will say yes, and you ask them which language. It will speak the language of the Bible, the language of the people who originated the different scriptures. Some people say it speaks all languages. So number one there is that morality founded on lies is no longer morality, it is immorality. It is better we look at the truth. We ask ourselves, what is true in this case? And from there, weave our morality based on what is true and what can benefit us. I think that from here, we can hammer out what you can call a humanist ethics. It is informed by reason and compassion. It's informed by empathy. Now, for instance, why am I moved by witch persecution? Because these people are innocent. Yes. And I stand on it. That is my driving force. That's why I think what those witch hunters are doing, what the pastors are doing, saying that they are removing evil spirit, is wrong. Yes. So if you tell me you don't care, I think that we are just saying it maybe in order to create a space for these people to market 10 commandments for you. I don't want 10 commandments. I want my own commandments based on my own experience. Because
what if your commandments don't agree with my commandments? If we don't have a foundation of the truth, then you come up with your 10, I come up with my 10, and then the 10 disagree. How can we walk?
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah, because I said my commandments, I said my human commandment as opposed to that abstract supernatural. Remember the 10 commandments dropped from the sky. A lie. A lie. So you know one thing? You see, you cannot compare the humanist ethics with supernatural ethics. Supernatural ethics is informed by lies. Yes. Who crafted these commandments? That's the end of story. Nobody can tell you simple truth. Sharia law, they said, oh, it's divine law. Who, what date did the divine law write? He wrote it and handed it down to who? The same thing applies to the Christian version and other theistic versions. But what we are saying here at the humanist end is that we, human beings, we make our rules in the light of our own knowledge and experience. So, and that is why we can also negotiate and renegotiate those rules. And this is as opposed to religious rules, commandments that you can't negotiate. In fact, they told us in Nigeria here that Sharia law, you can't change it. It is that way. Nonsense. Nonsense. And this is the tyranny. This is the outrage. This is the kind of, vicious campaign that people run when they have that mentality. We make laws. We change laws in the light of knowledge, in the light of experience. So if you are asking me, where do we get our morality? We get it from ourselves. Okay, the traffic rules. Where did we get the traffic rules? Yeah. Okay, the traffic rules that existed 100 years ago. Yeah. Or let's say 50 years ago. Is it the same we have today? Today we have the robots. When the robots weren't there, how are we doing with traffic rules? These people, look, let me tell you what's going on. What they're trying to do is they will bring traffic rules that was there the first time they invented automobiles. They want it to be the rules that will guide us now. We have the internet, we have the satellite. And when you say no, they kill you. What kind of morality is that? Here, as a humanist, I will listen to you. And I will use my own reason to evaluate what you are saying. And if I can connect with it, I said it, why not? So you will see the religious moralists living in 21st century, but their minds are guided with 7th century Stone Age moral teachings by people who never saw an iron float in the air. Come on. What am I saying? So that is it. It is something that we look at every day. What's the right or wrong? We need to look at it, question it, evaluate it. We need to look at the consequences on us as human beings. Is utilitarian? Is consequentialist? Is based on human benefit? It is something we can always revise in the light of knowledge. Yeah. Look at human sacrifice. Who sanctified human sacrifice? It is still the people you are telling me have superior morality. That's the supernatural people. And you are even telling, there was earlier on, you implied that, yeah, we used to have this human sacrifice here. Human sacrifice is still going on now. Look, jihad is a form of human sacrifice. What is going on in the Middle East is a human sacrifice. In Nigeria, somebody makes a critical comment of Muhammad, they will go and kill the person. It's human sacrifice. And it is religion that can stifle the conscience of people and allow them to be committing such atrocities, and they call it morality. It is not morality, it's obscenity.
Final question. How did you come to these ideas? Obviously, they're not popular in Nigeria. So how did you come to think this way?
Well, I think this is a story, this is a question I grapple with all the time. The fact there is that I was brought up in a village. I was born in a village. Shortly after the Nigerian Civil War, there was no electricity. Okay, so life was just as rural as you can imagine. I don't know how far you can imagine, but it's as rural as you can imagine, or much more than that. Okay, so when I was 12, my mother sent me to the Catholic seminary for my education. And as I was growing, I found out that things were changing. Okay, when we went to the seminary, they were talking about Jesus, they were talking about Catholic. You go to the village, they were talking about traditionalists. We have local shrines here and there where people worship different gods. You read the books, they talk about Hinduism, they talk about... So, like I said, I was confused. And I was asking myself, which one is true? Okay? And you see all the people holding tenaciously to their own, even to the point of killing the person who questions or who disputes. So I said, something must be wrong with religion or religious mindset. So as an individual, I find religion something of an object of curiosity. Yes. Anytime I want to really exercise my curiosity, I go to these religious people. So I found it curious. Do you know why? The more you question, the more they crumble. Everything crumbles, and people now become very militant or very aggressive because they have nothing to present. They keep hiding. And you tell them, can you open it? You open it and find out it's empty. And you ask yourself, why are you hiding this? Nothing is in it. They get angry. So there's a way human beings respond. Immediately you start discussing religion. And it makes me curious. So as I was growing, I read philosophy. And in my philosophical days, we read all sorts of books. Freud, Bertrand Russell, and all that. And those of us those days, we found people like Bertrand Russell as courageous, as like, this man is actually saying what I think. You get it? But you can't say it because immediately you say it, you lose scholarship, you lose sponsorship, you lose family support, you lose, if care is not taken, you lose your citizenship or your life. I want to tell you how dangerous religion is. You can lose your life just because you questioned a religious teaching. And I asked myself, some of the most questionable teachings today are religious teachings. So why are people not questioning them? So I wasn't satisfied with the kind of shield they place around religion and all that. So it made me increasingly curious. Yes. And I kept looking at it, and it's like, there must be something behind it. So as I was growing up, I was curious. And I was critical. I was questioning all these things. Even though I was trained to be a priest. Yes. I attended this priestly training up to the theology. Actually, I was in my first year theology. I said, look, I'm done. I'm done, please. Can I go? Because I couldn't stomach it again. Okay? They were teaching of dogmatic theology, church history, and all sorts of things. After philosophy, I was done. Okay? So I left, and I left. So when I left, I now started asking myself, how do you get a kind of a philosophical foothold? What platform do you use now to engage the world? Because like I told you, I was confused. Muslims are killing Christians in the north of Nigeria. In southern Nigeria, Christians are saying that Muslims are going to hell, and because the only savior is Jesus and all that. And in the night, they go to traditionalists to go and do sorts of things. So amidst this confusion, I asked myself, there was only one thing I found consistent in all religion: human being. Prophet, human being. House of God built by human beings. Holy book written by human beings. Published by human beings. Circulated by human beings. I said, Eureka! I found it. He's the human being. That's where to start. And I found out that immediately you understand the human, you focus on the human, everything comes into perspective. Hinduism as a culture, culturalized religion for Indians and Asians, Islam the same thing, even Western Christianity the same thing. So everything just came into perspective. So if I came to humanism in my quest to make sense of the confusion and the obscenity different religions have created in Nigeria. And now I am now rallying the resources, the humanist resources, against those evil, which persecution, homophobia, atheophobia, because believers and non-believers should be treated equally. They told me, somebody wrote me and told me that, look, as a Muslim, that they can say that there's no God but Allah and Muhammad is a prophet. I said, well, another person could say there's no God at all. Why not? He said that, okay, that person will have to be reported to the police. I said, why? You should also be reported to the police. Why are you saying that there's no other God but Allah? You should also be reported. He told me if I report him to the police will arrest me. It is because it's a Sharia police. It is not a police founded on equality of citizens. So religion has distorted relationships in families, and even governance. So with this, I am moved by the humanist approach, and I still think it is, a better framework, to situate all these problems and really create a culture of African Renaissance and Enlightenment.
Well, thank you for that. On that note, it's been a pleasure having you with us. I hope you, our audience, have enjoyed this conversation as much as I have. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, remember that a tree does not make a forest. Thank you. Have a good one.